and welcome back to our Meander life. They say when you move to a new country, you should expect surprises. It was just a normal freezing morning here in our single-wide mobile home in the Ozarks. Mael has only been here in the USA for a few months and she is still learning that everything here is different. The air, the food, and even the way the water moves. She went to the bathroom, tried to flush the toilet, and then I heard that sound every homeowner hates. Nothing, just a rising pool of water and a worried voice calling out, "Mama, something is wrong. The toilet won't flush." We had this same problem 4 months ago. We spent the money to pump the septic tank and truly thought the issue was over. We thought we were safe. But life has a way of reminding you that if you don't find the root of a problem, it will always come back to find you. It had been below freezing for days. Everything was hard and brittle. At first, we tried to be optimistic. We thought maybe it's just a frozen drain under the mobile home. We already had frozen water in the kitchen sink, so it made sense. I grabbed the teapot and started boiling water, thinking a little heat would solve everything. We poured hot water down the toilet again and again, but the water just stared back at us. It wasn't moving. Then we thought maybe it was roots from the big trees nearby. But you can't use a plumbing snake from inside our toilet. There are too many turns and corners. That's when Todd looked at me and said the words I dread. "Elena, we're going to have to dig now. I love my husband, but digging in the Ozarks in winter is no vacation. The ground is full of rocks and frozen solid." But Todd is not the type of man to sit around and wait for an expensive plumber. He got out the excavator and we started guessing where the drain line was buried. We marked the path with orange paint on the frozen ground like we were preparing for battle. Todd was so careful with that big machine, but it's hard to see what you're doing when everything is buried deep. Eventually, Todd realized the machine was too risky. He jumped down, grabbed the shovel, and we started exploring by hand. Every time the shovel hit the ground, it sounded like hitting a stone. Mael and I were right there with him, helping as he alternated between the excavator and the shovel. And then, crunch! It was a sound that made us all freeze. Todd had hit the drain pipe and accidentally broke a huge hole right in the side of it. For a second, I thought the day was ruined. But Todd just looked at me and said, "Actually, Elena, this is an advantage. Now we can see exactly where the water is stuck." He is always like that, taking a mistake and turning it into a map.
Okay, so from here we don't know if the problem is before this break that we have or after, between this and the tank, because the tank is down here. So we thought she could go in and flush the toilet one time and we'll see how much water comes out right here, and if it flows easy to here, there it is. Yeah, so that we know that that is all open. So the problem has to be between here and down there.
Took the plumbing snake and ran it through the break toward the septic tank. It hit something solid. I pulled the snake out, laid it on top of the ground to measure the distance, and pointed to a spot a few feet away. "That's it," Todd said. "That's where the monster lives." We started digging in the new spot. The deeper we went, the more the ground changed. It stopped being frozen and started getting soft. Then it got wet. And then, oh, it got stinky. Knowing the pipe was full of mess, Todd dug a side trench first. He wanted a place for the waste to flow so we wouldn't have to stand in it while we made the repair. We were getting so close, the mud turned black and the smell was getting stronger. Mael and I were helping with the shovels, but when we saw that black mud, we both started backing away. Todd took the shovel for the final bit of dirt. All of a sudden, whoosh! The mist started to flow like a river into the side trench. Mael and I screamed, "Eh! Eep!" and I think I jumped back 5 feet. We were shrieking and laughing at the same time. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. But we were so happy because it meant the blockage was finally gone. When the mess cleared, we saw the real problem. Years ago, when the septic was installed, they used a rubber coupler to connect the pipes. Over time, the ground had shifted and the pipes had pulled apart until they weren't even touching anymore. They were completely offset. There was no way for anything to reach the tank. To make things worse, the pipe was actually tilting uphill. Todd explained to Mael and me that in plumbing and in life you have to have the right slope or things just get stuck. We went to town, bought the parts we needed, and Todd even found a leftover piece of pipe from the previous owners. We worked together, a 60-year-old American stepdad and his 20-year-old Filipina stepdaughter, both covered in Missouri mud. It made me realize that this is what family is. It isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's stinky and cold, but you do it together. Finally, it was time for the test. Mael went inside and we stood by the tank. "Flush it!" Todd yelled. We heard the water running down the pipe, clear and fast right into the tank. It's fixed! Todd used the excavator to cover the trench and flatten the ground. Our yard is a muddy mess right now, and in the spring, we will have to plant grass to hide the spot where we dug. But I don't mind the mud. Every time I look at it, I remember the woes, the screams, and the way we solved our first big American problem as a team. We are building a home base here, and sometimes that means you have to dig deep to make sure your foundation is clean. You know, they say the Ozarks are made of rock and hard soil. And this week, we definitely felt that. But we also learned that no matter how frozen the ground is or how stinky the situation gets, there's nothing a family can't fix when they dig in together. Mael is learning that life in America isn't always like the movies. Sometimes it's muddy, and sometimes you're running away from a septic woes. But those are the moments that make us a family. We aren't just fixing pipes, we are building a life. So, if you're going through a hard time or a stinky time, just keep digging. Find the right slope, lean on your family, and wait for that whoosh of success. It may be cold, messy, and not so glamorous, but this is our life and we are proud of it. If you enjoy real stories, homestead struggles, second chances, and this crazy Filipina American journey, we'd love for you to be part of our family too. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell button and come meander through life with us. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.